What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from International Racing League Season 8 F3 on F1 2020 for the PS4 platform, and we've got a lot of news and notes to go over for International Racing League today. So, we'll start off with the big news. Unfortunately, due to lack of driver participation, we have lost, well, we haven't lost, but we have decided to cut short the F2 and F4 tiers due to lack of participation. So those two tiers, their season is done, and because of that, we are actually going to have a few new drivers in today's race. Some of the F4 drivers moving up to F3 and a bunch of new reserves that we'll get to in just a minute. But a shout out to F2 champion Devin3043. Congratulations to him for winning the F2 championship, and congratulations to Luis Wassman, who is a familiar name, on winning the F4 championship along with the Constructors Championship as well in his Renault. So that's the semi-bad news, and it's really a shame too, because we had so many driver sign-ups at the beginning of the season. We had 142 people sign up for IRL this year moving into the season, and unfortunately the car count was just too low the last number of weeks. So they are consolidating. Some of the F2 drivers will move into the F1 tier, some of the F4 drivers have moved into the F3 tier, and vice versa. Some have moved down to F5. So that being said, we do have a number of new drivers today, and we'll probably run into a few of them as we head into the driver lineup today. And we see Sanjay Sauerhog has moved over to the Alfa Romeo Racing. His new teammate will be Kevin Harrison. Actually, I should say Harrison's new teammate is going to be Sanjay. Jack Yates, who is scheduled to be the teammate once again for Kevin Harrison, as they were going to team up again at Alfa Romeo. He hasn't been able to make a few of the races this year. He had back problems early on in the season. He has been dropped to a reserve for now. Sanjay's going to move over to Alfa Romeo, so Sanjay Sauerhog, Kevin Harrison, James Hallworth. Now, Flying Grass is one of the newcomers to the F3 tier, and I'm probably going to butcher some of these guys' names, but Flying Grass is Anton Ruoho, something to that effect. We're just going to call him Anton. Patuka is Peter Sundberg. He'll be in the Williams. Epic the Animal, fighting for the championship. Logan Aron will be in the Haas. Thomas Mumford, welcome back, Thomas. He'll be in the Renault. And Just Chris is Chris Van Ravenhorst. Now, we haven't seen him in a couple of weeks, but good to have him back. He'll be in the AlphaTauri, or AlphaTauri, if you will. And then we've got Catboy, and that is Kieran Spears. He'll be in the Ferrari. And WSO Simply is Alejandro Gapar. Sassy Pickle is Adrian Villarroel. We're just going to call him Adrian or Sassy Pickle. Gravity 151 will be in the Williams. That is another newcomer. That is Adam Corrigan. And then we've got championship points leader Ben Fernandez in the Red Bull Racing with Brandon Villegas in the McLaren. Villegas is supposed to be a reserve driver, but he's made a lot of the races this year. I think they should move him into full-time. T. Jonas is going to be in the Mercedes. Flip Flop Fish is Thomas Zettner. Bjorn Langfell is going to be in the Mercedes AMG Petronas. And right now, that is our driver lineup so far. And there is Luis Wassman. Looks like he's joining in just a little bit late. But looks like 18 drivers all ready for today's race, and that's a big pickup from the last couple of weeks. We had 14 drivers for round 5 last week, 13 drivers for round 4, and those were the two lowest car counts after going 2 straight weeks with a full grid, and 16 cars at the opening round at Canada. The last couple of rounds have been 13 and 14, but let's touch on last week's round 5 at Austria, where Logan Aron walked away with his 3rd pole position of the season, and finally, after fighting for round after round, walked away with his first win of the season here in IRL. Alejandro Gapar was 2nd, walking away with his 2nd podium of the season. Ben Fernandez, your championship points leader, picks up his 4th podium in 5 rounds to keep him ahead of Logan. Logan was able to close that gap in the point standings. T. Jonas had a good run up into 4th. Kevin Harrison was 5th. Ewan McGregor, who is another reserve driver, actually having a pretty good season as a reserve, came home 6th. Thomas Zettner's race did not go the way he wanted to, as he came home 7th. Bjorn Langfell was 8th, Sassy Pickle was 9th, James Hallworth was 10th. That rounded out in your top 10 points-paying positions. Peter Sundberg was the last remaining driver on track, and 12th through 14th was Sanjay Sauerhog, Brennan Villegas, and Rowan Lakely, as they all picked up DNFs. And then speaking of point standings, Ben Fernandez is the championship points leader. He's still out in front, 96 points to his credit. Logan was able to close in on the points a little bit. He's got 70 points to his credit, 26 points out of first place. And then the battle for third is actually really, really tight. T. Jonas, Alejandro Gapar, and Kevin Harrison, 57, 56, and 55 points to their credit. And then Thomas Zentner is going to be 45 points. And then behind him is Ewan McGregor, 31 points to his credit as a reserve. And again, we've got some new drivers coming in today. So this should be an exciting race. Some of the F4 drivers are going to be able to go up against the F3 guys. And looks like Anton is trying to teach me how to say his name, but, you're just going to be Rojo. How about Rojo? And we've got Blizzard. Look at that. CRG Blizzard on the live chat. Matthew Alder joining us on the live chat. Good to have the F1 tier champion alongside us today as we wait to get this race underway. We're going to do an 18-minute short qualifying session followed by a 50% race here at Bahrain. And I know some of these guys are going to be looking forward to this. And some of these guys are going to be doing double duty. As soon as we leave here, we're going to be going over to IRS, the International Racing Series, where Logan Arond, Epic the Animal, is going to be fighting it out. He's the championship points leader at IRS, and Luis Wassman's going to be going with him as they both run in the F1 series on that league. So and look at this, flying grass. Rojo means grass and finish. A lot of Finnish drivers. Man. Over at IRS, they're all Finnish. I can't pronounce any of their goddamn names. The only Finnish driver I can pronounce is Mika Hakkinen and Kimi Räikkönen. Those are the only ones you need to know. But yeah, going to be doing double duty. We'll leave here and we'll go over to IRS, and that'll be a good time, where Logan is currently competing for a championship of that. Also drives the Haas. Bjorn Langfell on the live chat with us. Sandre saying he can't pronounce Finnish names either. Not that Sandre's got a real common name here on, in the States. So if I butcher your guys' names, it's just blame the American in me. But round 6 Bahrain should be a good race. Bahrain actually produces a lot of good racing on the, as far as online racing is concerned. It's had a few good seasons in actual F1. And I'm actually kind of interested to see how some of these newcomers, especially to the reserves, are going to stack up against Logan and Ben Fernandez. And definitely the rivalry there for the championship has definitely been heating up, especially after last round. There was some team orders at Red Bull where Alejandro Gapar tried to let Ben Fernandez take second at the race. Alejandro basically stopped at the finish line to let Ben go by to pick up the points, but unfortunately, because of time penalties during the race, he was actually subjected back to third. So, but still, a Red Bull leading the way in the Constructors' Championship. Now, Logan Arond did have a 5-second time penalty added to his total time at the end of the race, but he had a 10-second lead at the end of the race. It was inconsequential to his finishing position, so he was still able to walk away with the win. And it looks like we're getting ready, set to fly. See if we had anybody else join in. URL had itched. I don't know who that is. That is Patrick Sorius is what it looks like. So good to see some familiar names. Been calling Luis Wassman's name for a number of years now. Good to see him back. We also had an old IRL name crop up today. Adrian Storm joined the Discord, and he'll be a reserve in the F5 series. Adrian Storm, a couple seasons ago, had to call it quits. He had run into a wrist issue. He injured his wrist and decided to retire for the time being, take a little bit of a sabbatical, let his wrist heal up, walked away from online racing for a little while. Now he's back. He'll be in F5 in reserve, and we'll see how he stacks up. You can always check out the F5 tier on the YouTube channel. Flying Grass apparently is Ozone Nola. So, you've changed your name a number of times. So now we've got 19 drivers for today's race. That is good to see here at Bahrain. And obviously weather is probably not going to be a factor since we are in the middle of the desert. And the one time it did rain was during the 24 hours. And it flooded out. So we've already got a bunch of guys already heading out onto track. Look at this. Everybody quick with their setup, quick with their tire selection, and we are off and running here for this 18-minute short qualifying session. And we'll pick up Anton. He's out on the Super Softs. We'll get some telemetry up here for everybody. Lap data, track map. And there is Bahrain. It looks like Anton was the first one out. So since I am semi-familiar with Anton, a.k.a. Nola, that is actually a good addition. He's pretty quick. He's a pretty scrappy driver, so pretty sure watched a little bit of him. Obviously in IRL, I think we co-commentated a couple of races for a different league, hit the Apex, which is now going defunct. So kind of exciting to have some new and familiar faces coming back into a tier. But I will say, on the league's behalf, it is very disappointing when you have 142 drivers sign up prior to the 8th season, and a lot of those drivers can't make the commitment to be here week in and week out. And I just want to say on behalf of the league that they've tried very hard to keep those tiers up and running. But unfortunately, with a lack of car count, it makes it very difficult. So, shame on people who cannot participate. Don't sign up for a league, especially a league like IRL. If you're not going to be able to make the races, it wastes a lot of people's time. IRL is got a number of administrators and stewards that put a lot of time and effort into making this league what it is, and to sign up and not be able to make the races is really kind of a kick in the pants for the league. This is not, this is a pretty profound league as far as I'm concerned. They're pretty top-notch. They run a pretty tight ship. Obviously, it's not the biggest league out there, but, this isn't just, oh, it's my friend's league, so I'll race when I can. It doesn't work that way. Oh, and Patuca. Peter Sundberg's been disqualified from the qualifying session, so he must have had an issue somewhere on track. We were seeing some yellow flags fly in a couple of different sectors, primarily Sector 3 and Sector 2. I don't know if he got caught going backwards at one point, but he's been disqualified, so that's a shame for him. And we're still watching Anton, as he's going to be the first one to set a flying lap. Well, apparently he's not. Apparently I was wrong. Alejandro will be the first one to set a flying lap at a 1:25.301. That is going to be the time to beat. Anton comes across almost a second slower, 1:26.243. Ben Fernandez goes to the top of the charts with a 1:25.138. So the times are starting to come in. We'll see where these guys can stack up. Kevin Harrison with a 1:26.473. And in Kevin Harrison's defense, that is probably by design. He set that time on the medium tires. Thomas Mumford comes across 1:27.256. So the times are coming in. Sassy Pickle with a good run, 1:25.686. Bjorn Langfeld, 1:26.184, fourth quickest. Going to pick up Thomas Zentner as he's getting ready to start a flying lap. We're going to ride along with him. Right now, Thomas Zentner, he's got 45 points to his credit. He's actually a very good driver. He's got a podium to his credit. He finished third at the opening round at Montreal. I actually backed it up at Monza with another podium. He had 2 third-place finishes, but unfortunately it's been a little downhill since then. He had a DNF at Spa, and unfortunately, the Netherlands, he had a semi-decent race going, but got caught out in the weather a little bit, and the safety cars that fell, he finished 7th. Last week, 7th again. So, bit of an up and down season. Started strong. He's had a rough go the past couple weeks. We'll see what he can do today here at Bahrain. We got a car off track in front of him, but it might be a little bit of a blessing. That's Luis Wassman, and he's going to be able to get a slipstream off of Wassman's car as Wassman came back on track. So that might help him a little bit coming out of the penultimate corner. And down the front straightaway, Thomas Zentner, 1:26.194, good enough for 5th quickest so far, right behind Bjorn Langfeld by 100th of a second. Meanwhile, Patrick Sorios put in a time of a 1:29.495. And we've got a lot of guys still in the pits. We'll pick up, let's pick up Brandon Villegas. He's in the McLaren. He's currently on an out lap. We've got James Hallworth on an out lap. And then Gravity 151. That was Adam Corrigan. Don't know much about him, but also on an out lap. And then we've got a number of guys still in the pits. – 11 minutes left to play in this session. It looks like we've got a car off at Sector 3. Looks like they're getting up and going again. Wasn't James Hallworth, but Hallworth hasn't validated his lap time, so he'll have to come around and try it again. Brandon Villegas has invalidated his lap time, so that's unfortunate for him. And Patrick is diving into the pits. He invalidated his lap time. So we'll pick up Anton again. Anton out on track. Looks like he's got some traffic in front of him. That is going to be Alejandro Gapar in the Red Bull. Alejandro is 2nd quickest so far. So this could be a little bit of a benefit now. This is only an out lap for these two, but if Anton tries to keep pace with him a little bit, he could use the slipstream off him, but it looks like he's going to let him get away just a tad, separate himself from that. And we will pick up Alejandro as he's getting ready to start this hot lap. 10 minutes left to play in the session. He's going to give it another go. Can he out-qualify his teammate? Currently 2/10 off of provisional pole with a 1:25.301. His teammate Ben Fernandez and championship points leader with a 1:25.138. Bit of a lockup heading into turn 1, trying to get the power back down. Another big lockup on the right front. And Alejandro, I will say, is definitely testing the track limits for sure. And another big lockup on that right front. And now a lockup on both front tires. So Alejandro getting deep on the brakes. Nothing wrong with a little bit of late braking. Up the hill in the sweeping right-hander. You definitely want to get a good run through here. Put you on that long back straightaway. He's gone purple in Sector 2. And he went through all that. We rode along with him for no reason, because he's going to dive into the pits. Thanks for nothing, Alejandro. And Anton has dived into the pits as well. So, anybody to pick up? We'll pick up Sandre Sauerhog. Currently has not set a time. And Ben Fernandez just improved upon his time by a tenth. He's now gone 125 flat. 0.3 of a second separates him and his teammates. So the time now, the provisional pole is 125.012. As we ride along with Sandre Sauerhog in his new car, the Alfa Romeo Racing Sauber. And Chris Van Ravenhorst just went third quickest with a 125.638. Dropped Sassy Pickle to fourth. Sandre been having a bit of a rough year, and he goes very wide at that corner, and that is going to invalidate his time, so much for that. We'll pick up Bjorn Langfell. Pick him up, currently fifth quickest. And it doesn't look like he's on a hot lap right this second. Running very slow, going around, was that Thomas Mumford? Or was that Anton? And Anton's come over to the live chat saying he's having a big problem with the brakes. Looks like we've got one of the Renaults is very slow. That is Thomas Mumford, very slow coming down the straightaway. And is that Brandon Villegas that's having issues? Villegas coming out of the last corner. He's been very slow this lap. Oh, and Kevin Harrison, where did that come from? Kevin Harrison with a 125.004. And Kevin's going, hey, just to remind you guys, I'm an F2 champion and just set a provisional pole time of a 125 flat. So good for Kevin Harrison. We'll pick up Catboy. Kieran Spears. Haven't talked much about him. He's in the Ferrari. I believe he's one of the F5 drivers that's moved up. I'm sorry, F3 drivers that's moved up. God damn it. F4 drivers that have moved up to F3. And he just invalidated his time in a big way. So 5 minutes left to play in this session. Kevin Harrison, your provisional pole sitter. We're going to pick up Alejandro Capar. Alejandro's done a best of a 125.301. Good enough for third now. He's gone purple in Sector 2. Now, he went purple in Sector 2 last time and then decided to dive into the pits. He's going to come across the line. 125.060. So he's going 125 flat as well, and 0.06 of a second separate the top three drivers. And then there's 0.6 of a second back to Chris Van Ravenhorst, who is fourth quickest so far. And we're going to pick up Luis Wassman. Haven't talked about him a whole lot, but your F4 champion moving up into F3 and also contending for a championship in IRS, the International Racing Series, not to be confused with International Racing League, which is far superior. And it looks like Wassman just went purple in Sector 2, so he's on a little bit of a tear. Hasn't set a time so far. Bit of a lockup on that right front coming out of the last corner now, gets the power down. Where is Luis going to stack up amongst the drivers? And he's going 125.752. That's good enough for 6th quickest so far. Good qualifying effort by Luis Wassman. And Ben Fernandez is on an out lap with 3 minutes left to play in this session. And it looks like he's going to let a couple of drivers go by, so he's currently heading into the right-hander. It's at the end of the first, well, not the first straightaway because that's the front stretch, but the second straightaway. Pick up James Hallworth. Hallworth starting a hot lap down into turn 1 here in the Racing Point. Hallworth finishing 10th last time out. He's run a 126.703. He set that time on the softs. We'll see if he can improve his time. Still waiting on times to be set by Epic the Animal, Logan Arond, Sanjay Sourhog, and T. Jonas. T. Jonas is currently on an out lap. And Epic, if he doesn't come out now, I don't know if he's got a qualifying ban that I don't know about. Or if he's really waiting until the last minute. But we're going to watch James Hallworth, see if he can see what kind of lap time he can set, see if he can improve his time. Then we'll pick up T. Jonas, one of the heavy hitters that'll be out on track. See if he can set a time. Hallworth is up 2/10 on his previous time. That would possibly move him up a spot. Why do I feel like I'm watching the same thing over again? Is there a glitch in the system? I swear James has already come through here. Either way, track's getting really busy, and Epic the Animal is out on track, as is Kevin Harrison. Luis Wassman's retired from the session. Bit of a glitch going. I swear I'm losing my mind. But Luis Wassman's retired from the session. He's locked in with the 125.752. Good enough for 6th quickest so far. We're continuing to watch James Hallworth. And it looks like he's just invalidated his time, so he'll pretty much be done. We pick up Epic the Animal, Logan, on his one and only timed lap. And Ben Fernandez has just retired from the session, so he's done 125.012. That's 2nd quickest so far. Provisional pole time is a 125.004 by Kevin Harrison. Time is up. Hot laps will count. We're riding along with Epic the Animal, 2nd in points. Oh, we've got a car sideways. That was Bjorn Langfell right in front of Logan. So that could have been catastrophic. Bjorn trying to get out of the way. Sassy Pickles retired from the session. James Hallworth has retired from the session. So these guys are going to be locked in. Still riding along with Logan Aron to see if he can go for pole again. He's got 3 poles to his credit this year. He leads the league in pole positions right now. He's going to have to run, basically he's going to have to run a 124 lap time in order to take this pole position, but he's on the medium tires. Now that may be by design to try and run an alternate tire strategy. And look at that, Kevin Harrison with a 124.9. He's putting the pressure on the whole field now. Here comes Logan out of the last quarter. And Logan is going to be 126.359, 13th quickest. That is not a great time. Chris Van Ravenhorst is locked in. We'll pick up Logan's teammate, and this is Thomas Zentner. He's coming across the line. He's 125.623. That moves him into 5th. Bjorn Langfeld, we saw him spin. He'll be done for the day. We'll pick up T. Jonas. Jonas coming out of the last corner. He's going to dive into the pit, so he's done. We'll pick up Brandon Villegas. Oh, and a big wiggle by Brandon, and he's going to be coming through the penultimate corner now. Can he improve his time to get himself out of the basement in 17th? And that was a 125. That should put him somewhere mid-pack in the top 10. Ninth quickest for Villegas. A good last-ditch effort to improve his time from 17th to 9th. So here is your starting order. Pole position for Kevin Harrison. That is amazing to see, followed by Alejandro Gapar, Ben Fernandez, Sassy Pickle, Thomas Sentner, Chris Van Ravenhorst, Luis Wassman, Bjorn Langfeld, Brandon Villegas, Patrick Sorius, Thomas Mumford, Anton, Adam Corrigan, Logan Aron drops to 14th. No, this is Patrick Soros. Who the hell's the other guy? Whatever, we'll figure it out. T. Jonas is all the way down in 16th. James Hallworth is 17th. And 18th is going to be Sondre Sauerhog. And Peter Sundberg did not get to set a time as he was disqualified from the session. Now, Brandon Glover's on the live chat saying Kevin for the win. And Anton said he blew his lap. So this is going to be a very interesting race. This is going to be really interesting. With this many cars, we've got definitely a good mix of drivers between the F4 and F3 tiers at this point. Some of these guys are reserved, so I don't know how much track time some of these guys have had. And you can't take anything away from guys like Thomas Mumford or even Luis Wassman moving up from F4 into F3, and Wassman being credited with the F4 championship. So he does have that under his belt. Any championship isn't anything that should be scoffed at. I myself have an IRL Dirt Rally 2 championship, but it was very much uncontested, like Toyota's Le Mans win today. So I'll wait for the game to reset. So this could be, this could go really, really well or really, really bad. And it's been a long time since Kevin Harrison has been on pole. Kevin, the second half of last season and the first part of this season, he's mostly been running alternate tire strategies. So good to see Kevin Harrison on pole. We'll run through the starting order one more time, and Kevin Harrison with his first pole position of the season. He'll be followed by Alejandro Gapar and Ben Fernandez. That is your constructors points leaders right now, and your championship points leader Ben Fernandez starting in the third position. Sassy Pickle in fourth, had a great run last time out. Unfortunately, it kind of fell apart towards the end of the race. He ran strong, but he ended up finishing ninth. See if he can improve upon that today. Thomas Zentner was seventh last time out at Austria, so he's definitely wanting to try and improve that. Chris Van Ravenhorst, we haven't seen in a couple of weeks. We'll see if he can work his way through the field, put some points on the board. Luis Wassman, your F4 champion, going to try and put some points on the board because he's making his F3 debut here at IRL. Bjorn Langfeld in the Mercedes Petronas AMG is going to be starting in the 8th spot, and he's going to have Brandon Villegas behind him. Brandon Villegas was an F3 reserve at the beginning of this season. Try and put some points on the board. And then there's Catboy. See if I can get this right. This is Kieran Spears, and I'll remember that eventually, starting in the 10th spot, followed by Thomas Mumford in the Renault. Good to see him. Anton Ruoho is going to be starting in 12th. He blew his last qualifying lap, but Anton, we know, has got some speed in that car. And then Gravity 151, that is Adam Corrigan coming up from F4, starting in the 13th spot. And then championship contender Logan Aron, who's got 3 pole positions to his credit so far this year, starting all the way back in the 14th spot. You can see he's on the medium tires, so he'll try and run an alternate strategy. URL Have Itched is Patrick Sorius, starting in the 15th spot. Behind him is T. Jonas, who had a very poor qualifying effort on his behalf. T. Jonas is much quicker than that, currently third in the points. He's got James Hallworth starting behind him in the 17th position. We'll see if Hallworth can work his way through the field. He's starting on the hard tires, one of 2 drivers that's going to start on the hards. He'll be followed by Sondre Sauerhog in the hard tires as well. And Peter Sundberg, even though he wasn't able to qualify He'll be starting all the way at the back of the grid, 19th on the medium tires. We'll see if he can work his way through the field, pick up some points for today's 29-lap Grand Prix, and that is going to be 19 drivers for today's race. This should be a thriller here in the desert. And, of course, we have a yellow flag in Sector 3 because it's Codemasters. Waiting on the 5 red lights. And a drive-through penalty for Sondre Sauerhawk for jumping the start. It's time to run what you brung, and they're off and away to puff of smoke. Good start by Kevin Harrison. The 2 Red Bulls behind him. They fan out behind him, and it's going to get messy coming down in here into turn 1. Very slow. Lots of bumping and grinding. One of the Renaults goes around. That's Luis Wassman, unfortunately. So Wassman's already had an issue, and he's all the way back to the end of the field. Meanwhile, Ben Fernandez has worked his way around his teammate Alejandro Capar for the 2nd spot. Sassy Pickle is all over the back of him. And here comes Thomas Zentner. Zentner to the inside of Adrian. And now it's the outside. And now it's the inside. Trying to do the crossover move. Zentner trying to pick up that 4th spot. Meanwhile, we've got some shuffling going on in the back. T. Jonas has worked his way up into the 13th spot. Epic the Animal just picked up another spot. There's a bunch of stuff going on back here. Bits and pieces of wing flying all over the place. Was Epic involved in any of that? Looks like Epic is clear for now. He's got all of his wing with him, and he's battling it out with T. Jonas. Whoa, and a big wiggle there by T. Jonas as he cuts across the nose of Logan. Unbelievable racing. And then back towards the front, we've still got Adrian all over the back of Alejandro Capar trying to pick up that spot. And Brandon Glover making note of Sondre at the start of this race. And now the timing and scoring will get all screwed up because Luis Wassman says he's the leader of this race. We know that's not true. Kevin Harrison is the leader of this race. It looks like Kevin Harrison is out in front to the tune of 0.7 of a second. Ben Fernandez trying to reel him in. And Fernandez has just gone purple in Sector 1. Now timing and scoring gets itself situated, except for Sondre. Sondre looks like he's dived into the pits. Brandon Villegas just picked up a 3-second time penalty. And a lot of these guys close to each other. We've got Gravity 151. We've got the 2 McLarens in the back here battling side by side. Anton and Brandon Villegas battling it out for the 11th spot. See if they actually work together. Epic the Animal lets Logan run back in the 13th spot, 12th spot. Should be 12th. There we go. So we've got a 3-car battle here for the last points paying position. Meanwhile, Logan, as he's trying to make up for a bad qualifying session and a tough start being back there. The championship points leader's just set the fastest lap as he tries to reel in Kevin Harrison for the lead of this race. And now lap 3, DRS is enabled, and a lot of these guys are going to be able to use it because everybody is real close to each other. Look at this. Bjorn Langfeld to the inside of Kieran Spears. Kieran's going to lose that spot. Look at this T. Jonas. Looks like he's he's made a move, and Epic has made a move as well. So Logan is up into the 11th spot, looking to try and make a move on Anton to try and get himself into the points. Oh, and Thomas Mumford's retired from the session. What has happened to Thomas? Yellow flag Sector 2, and we have a safety car. We'll pick up James Hallworth, see if we can see possibly where Thomas Mumford's car has gone off. Oh, and Hallworth is way, way behind all of this. Luis Wassman picks up a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision under the safety car. And it looks like it would have been down in this area where Mumford had his off, would have been right at this corner here, but it looks like the car's been removed Hallworth being that far behind, looks like he had to pit. So a frantic start on the opening 3 laps of this race. Kevin Harrison is your leader, and a lot of guys are diving into the pits to make their stops. And look at this. Ben Fernandez switching over to the hard tires. So Fernandez is going to try and run those all the way to the end of this race. 25 laps on the hards. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done, but that's going to be it's going to be a tall order to try and fill on those tires. And some of these guys didn't pit at all. And Kevin Harrison looks like he's going to be the only driver left out on the soft tires. Kevin Harrison, he is a master tire strategist. If he didn't pit, it's by design. He's going to stay out. Anton moves up into the second spot. And Logan, who has had some bad luck with safety cars this year, he's gotten caught out on a couple of them that's cost him a couple wins, especially back at the Netherlands at Zandvoort, moves all the way up into the third spot. So T. Jonas is up into fourth. Peter Sundberg, who didn't even get to set a qualifying time, started 19th, is up in the fifth. Patrick Sorius is into sixth. Ben Fernandez looks like he's the first guy to make a pit stop. Yes, he is. He's the first driver to make a pit stop. He's going to be on seventh. He's going to be in seventh, and now he's only one of 2 drivers on the hard tires. Interestingly enough, those 2 drivers, both Red Bull. Alejandro Gapar and Ben Fernandez. So definitely a interesting strategy call for some of these drivers. Pick up Sandre. He's bringing up the rear of the field. We're just waiting for him to get into the queue. Sandre unfortunately jumped the start. So Sandre, one of the longest tenured IRL drivers in its league history. The resident Rubens Barrichello, or even the resident Kimi Räikkönen at this point. And he is catching up to the queue, so there is a good possibility that the safety car will head in at the end of this lap. But Sandre's had a rough couple years in the F1 games, but props to him. He's a league administrator, he's the president of the league, and I think Sandre's done a hell of a job making IRL what it is. And you know, we talked about it earlier, how many drivers signed up and how many didn't show up for races week in and week out. And, you know, Sandre does this for the love of the game, for the love of the sport, for the love of online racing. And it's a shame when you have that many people sign up and just waste your time, basically. You know, as I said earlier in qualifying, you know, this isn't your friend's league. This is a legit league. If you're going to sign up, you need to show up. With that being said, he's finally in the queue, and this really should be, probably should get a message here from race control towards the end of this lap that the safety car will be heading in. Really, they had to put the frickin' rainbow on the side of the Mercedes. So there's the message from race control. So the safety car is going to be going in this lap. Kevin Harrison is the control car. He's got Anton all over the back of him, along with Logan Arond and T. Jonas. Those are 4 very quick drivers right there. Harrison may or may not be a sitting duck. He's going to see if this tire strategy works out for him because he's on the softs. He didn't pit. And we are back to green flag racing. Remember, no passing before the start-finish line. And Kevin Harrison is off to the races. Try and get some of these guys heading through turn 1. And down the straightaway, we've got a yellow flag, sector 1. Uh-oh. Alejandro Gapar looks like he may have had an issue heading into turn 1. He's dropped all the way to 18th. And he was already pretty deep in the field. I don't know if he had contact with somebody or outbraked himself. But Kevin Harrison's already scooted away to the 2 to 1.2 seconds. Logan Aron is all over the back of him. And it looks like we've got another issue. Chris Van Ravenhorst, as we try to pick him up. Chris Van Ravenhorst all the way back into 17th now, and he is back here with James Hallworth and Sandre Sauerhog. And I don't know if he missed a braking point or had contact with somebody as well, but he'd lost a number of spots. Luis Wassman is battling it out with Sassy Pickle. That's Adrian Villarroel. I just like calling him Sassy Pickle because it sounds funny. That, and I can't pronounce his last name. Meanwhile, Logan Aron is making a run on Anton down the front straightaway. To the outside, trying to hang tough. Can he outbrake him? They're side by side as they head into turn 1. There's a little bit of contact there. Looks like Logan's going to make it work, and he gets by Anton. So Anton falls to third, and here comes T. Jonas, trying to make a move on Anton himself. And now these two are going to go 3 wide into the corner. T. Jonas is making the move on Anton. They rub wheels a little bit after trying to scoot away from this and close that gap down to Kevin Harrison. And Anton loses a couple of spots in a couple of corners. Oh, we've got, who is this? Peter Sundberg. Looks like he had contact with Ben Fernandez and went way outside. Fernandez trying to make a move on Sundberg. So Fernandez has gained 1 spot since the restart on those hard tires. We're going to head back up to the battle for the second spot, Logan and T. Jonas. You know, really at the start of the season, I would have thought it would have been Logan and T. Jonas that would have been fighting it out for a championship, but Ben Fernandez has made his presence known throughout the course of this season, and he's got the DRS slot open. Looks like he's going to be making a move. I don't think he's going to be close enough to Peter to make it work this time around. And Jonas has lost a little bit of ground to Logan, and Logan is actually closing in that gap a little bit to Kevin Harrison. And look at this 4-car battle here. This is a mess going on right here. Now this is Bjorn Langfell. And there is just a hodgepodge of cars back here. This 4-car battle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is basically everybody and their brother fighting for the 10th and final points paying spot. Luis Wassman in 11th. And hey, we got Lewis Marshall with us on the live chat. Lewis Marshall, longtime IRL, SRL driver. Not sure what he's doing these days. As we see bits of wing flying. Oh, and there gets hit. That's Gravity 151. Oh, and he's lost a huge chunk of his wing. So Gravity 151, that's Adam Corrigan having a rough debut here in F3. And Kevin Harrison is just pitted from the lead of this race. 8 laps on those softs. That's going to hand the lead back over to Logan Aron, who started in the 14th spot. The safety car played his way, but he's got T. Jonas right behind him. And this is, like I said a couple laps ago, this is a battle I thought I'd be seeing all year, and it's good to see it starting to materialize. Anton, though, has got championship points leader Ben Fernandez all over the back of him. Ben pitted onto the safety car for those hard tires, And Sassy Pickle just ran a 129.188. And Lewis Marshall. Be nice. Everybody loves Sandre. Sandre losing a spot, though, to Alejandro Gapar. That is for the 14th spot. Uh-oh, here we go. Ben Fernandez making the move on Anton. Anton's not going to be able to hold him off. And now Thomas Zentner has made his presence known here in the top 5, and he's all over the back of Anton. And that is some very tight racing from these 3 drivers. Thomas Zentner all over the back. When Lowe's gave him the chrome horn. Looks like he might have given him a NASCAR-style bump and run. Gets to the inside. He's down the straightaway. He's going to have the position heading into the corner. And Zentner trying to make up for a couple of 7th-place finishes in a row last time out. And we've also got Eric Pennington with us on the live chat. So good to have Lewis Marshall and Eric Pennington with us. 2 very, very capable F1 drivers that I really miss seeing out on track. But right now it's all about the action here in IRL F3, where championship points leader is now starting to catch some heat from Thomas Zentner. Can Zentner get in front of Ben Fernandez and help out his teammate Logan, who is under pressure from T. Jonas? And Jonas, who fought hard last year for an F2 championship but lost out towards the end. Ryan Harina was able to walk away with that the second part of that season. T. Jonas currently 3rd in the points this year, actually behind Logan. So these 2 are actually battling it out championship points-wise. So the top 3 on track are actually the top 3 in the points, just not in that particular order. Ben Fernandez is your championship points leader, currently running in 3rd. He's followed by Logan Arand, who's currently out in front. And then T. Jonas is actually 3rd in points, and he's trying to catch a big lockup on the right front there. And he's trying to catch Epic the Animal. And it looks like Luis Wassman made a pit stop. He switched over to hard tires. Him and Gravity 151, Adam Corrigan. So they've pitted for a fresh set of hards. Adam had to get a new wing. And Chris Van Ravenhorst is making a move on James Hallworth. Gets around him. And we've still got a battle going on here. So these are a couple of newcomers. This is Catboy, that is Kieran Spears, and URL Habitched, which is Patrick Surius. Meanwhile, Thomas Zentner is still trying to work on Ben Fernandez. Fernandez pitted for those hard tires, going to try and run them all the way to the end. He knows the 2 guys in front of him, T. Jonas and Logan Arand, both have to make pit stops. And we got a yellow flag, sector 2. Is that, well, we got some wing damage on the racing point of Patrick Sorius' car, so it looks like Patrick was involved in that little bit of an altercation. He's lost a number of spots and the right front end plate on his wing, so he is going to have to make a pit stop for a fresh set of shoes. Meanwhile, the other Red Bull of Alejandro Gapar trying to work his way back into the points. Lots of action all over the track. Meanwhile, Anton trying to work on Peter Sundberg for the 5th spot. And a yellow flag in sector 2. Looks like that might be Gravity 151. And he's still got his front wing intact, so that's good news. Maybe a quick on-off, I should say. And Patrick Sorius is back into the pits for another wing. Pretty sure that's about his 3rd one that he's had. Meanwhile, Thomas Zentner still trying to find a way around Ben Fernandez. So Luis Wassman will pick up the 16th spot since Surius had to make another pit stop, unfortunately. So I'll ask my two drivers on the live chat, Lewis Marshall and Eric Penton, 11 laps on the medium tires. When should these guys be looking to make a pit stop here at the front of this pack? Be interesting to see the different strategies between those two guys. That would be a good race. Lewis Marshall and Eric Penton, that would be a good race to watch. Oh, and apparently the game tells me that the pit window is open for the hard tires. So Eric says now, as did the game, that the pit window would be open now to make an undercut for hard tires or run those hards to the end. Yellow flag sector 2 and 3. We've got a car off. Who is that? Oh, and that is the Racing Point. Oh my goodness. This is Patrick Sorius again. And once again, he has got wing damage. So my man is going through more wings than the U.S. Air Force right now. And a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. So yellow flag sector 2. Quick on off. So things getting a little bit spread out here. Except for back towards look at this. Look at this gaggle. This is going to be 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And it looks like we've got T. Jonas and Logan both going in for tires now. Logan's going to switch over to the hards. Where is T. Jonas? Where did T. Jonas go? Ooh, very tight racing. Kevin Harrison coming out right in front of Logan. So Harrison, Logan, and T. Jonas, three very fast drivers, find themselves sitting outside of the points under the pit sequence. That puts Ben Fernandez back out in front on the hard tires. Now, he switched over to those 9 laps ago onto the first safety car because of Thomas Munford's crash in Sector 2. So I imagine Ben Fernandez is going to try and run these very deep into the run. We got a yellow flag sector 2 and 3. Who is that? Please tell me that is not Patrick Sorius again. Yes, it is. Patrick, I think you need to call it a day, my friend. And Patrick lets the group go by, and we've got a virtual safety car because of Patrick's incidences out on track. And that is very much going to be frowned upon by the league, and we've got some guys diving into the pits now, so this could shake things up a little bit. Still on the virtual safety car, we got a lot of guys diving into the pits. And that has benefited, once again, Logan Aron, Kevin Harrison, and T. Jonas. And DRS is enabled. We're back to green flag racing, but for how long? And we've already got a yellow flag sector 2. What a surprise. It is Patrick Sorius. And Gravity 151, that's Adam Corrigan, picks up a 5-second time penalty, speeding into pit road. And we'll see if Patrick's car brings out an actual safety car or another virtual safety car. And it looks like the game is going to ignore it, so we're going to ride along. There's T. Jonas, and then there's Epic the Animal, Logan Arond. time to make the move on Kevin Harrison. A couple of very fast drivers here. Obviously, we know how fast Logan is, and Kevin Harrison's a former F2 champion. T. Jonas was an F2 championship contender last year. Oh, we got a battle here for the lead. Thomas Zettner and Ben Fernandez. Zettner trying to get out in front of the Red Bull, maybe help out his teammate a little bit. To the inside, big lockup on that right front from Fernandez. Thomas can't get the power down. Thomas is really trying real hard to try and get in front of that. And another big lockup on those hard tires. Yellow flags fly, sector 2 and 3, and that's exactly where the leaders are coming through right now. See which car that is. And Fernandez might be able to use that as a slipstream, maybe gap Thomas Zettner a little bit, maybe get some DRS help. Looks like that might be Gravity 151 that they're coming up on the back of. And Zettner's going to dive into the pits. Interesting strategy here. And here comes Bjorn Langfell. Langfell into the pits. And that is going to move Logan, Epic the Animal, who just ran the fastest lap of this race. That moves him up into the 3rd spot. As he's managed to get his way around Kevin Harrison for 3rd. And right now, looks like Logan and Ron sitting in 3rd and T. Jonas sitting in 5th. These guys are in the catbird seat on the freshly mounted hard tires. Only 2 laps on those hard tires. Chances are Team Red Bull, Ben Fernandez, the championship points leader, and Alejandro Gapar, who's had a bit of a rough day, finally working his way back towards the front of this field. 12-lap old hards. If they can gap the field long enough there, they could probably run it deep into the run, maybe switch over to softs towards the end. Logan right now is about 15 seconds behind the leader. Pit stop delta around here is about 22, 23 seconds. Maybe even 21, so Logan's going to have to pick up the pace just a little bit, try and close that gap. And yes, Eric, there is very much team orders amongst that team. Ben Fernandez will be the driver to watch. Meanwhile, James Hallworth has just made a move into the 7th spot to get in front of Kieran Spears. Spears is coming back, though. Spears isn't done with him. And here comes Kieran to the inside. Oh, I thought he was going to try and outbrake him. Kieran, a bit of a missed timing on that shift running through those S's. And it looks like James Hallworth is able to skip away just a little bit and gap Kieran. So good move by James Hallworth to pick up the 7th spot. Oh, and a 3-second time penalty for Thomas Zettner. Zettner currently running in the 6th spot, and actually only 2.5 seconds ahead of James Hallworth, so Zentner, who pitted for a fresh set of mediums. Now, Zentner's going to run those mediums to the end. 11 laps left in this race. And Bjorn Langfeld gets around Anton for the 11th spot. I'm sorry, for the 10th spot. Meanwhile, the three drivers to watch right now is Logan Aron in third, followed by Kevin Harrison and T. Jonas. That is your potential podium right there, is those three drivers. As Ben Fernandez and Alejandro Capar are more than likely going to have to pit again. 14 laps on those hard tires. Certainly waiting to see how long and how deep they'll go into this run on the hard tires to see when they'll make the switch and cross over into possibly mediums, more than likely softs at this point. Meanwhile, Chris Van Ravenhorst is moving in to try and make a move on Kieran Spears for 8th. We ride along with Chris Van Ravenhorst, not close enough to make a move at the end of this straightaway, but a big lockup by Kieran as he heads into turn 1. I'm sorry, that was the penultimate corner. This is going to be turn 1. I'm special. And here comes Chris Van Ravenhorst. Is he going to try and dive to the inside? Tries to outbrake him. Big lockup again on that right front, but Kieran's got the more preferred line. He's still side by side with him. He's able to get in front of him. Bjorn Langfeld right behind him. Kieran going to try and come back. Not going to make it work. And it looks like Chris Van Ravenhorst is going to pick up that spot. Yellow flag sector 2 and 3. We got a car off. Not sure who that was. It was Gravity 151. Adam Corrigan having a rough go today. Meanwhile, Bjorn Langfeld still trying to find a way around Catboy Kieran Spears for the 9th spot. And Ben Fernandez is making his final pit stop. Switching over to the softs. There goes Logan down the front straightaway. This is it, boys and girls. This is going to be for basically the win of this race. Ben Fernandez comes out in 7th spot on fresh softs, and he's got James Hallworth in front of him. Hallworth also on soft tires. But DRS is a hell of a thing, and around goes Fernandez. Very easily overtakes James Hallworth. So next on the hit list is going to be Thomas Zentner. And Zentner, is he going to play block for his teammate, Logan Aron? It's been Team Haas versus Team Red Bull all year. Is Zentner going to be able to run block for Logan for a little bit and try and hold back Ben Fernandez? And Eric Pentington saying there's going to be about a 1.5 second speed advantage with those soft tires over everybody else. So Fernandez with the potential of possibly getting this win out from underneath of Epic. And Zentner trying to snake his way down the backstretch a little bit, break up that slipstream. We'll see how long Zentner can keep him behind. And here comes Fernandez. Zentner tries to run him all the way down to the grass. He makes contact with him. Oh, and look at this. Fernandez outbreaks himself. That might get looked at the end of this. Oh, okay. And Zentner's going to have to give up the position, and he's going to lose 2. So he gets the roll into the 2-for-1. And Zentner did the right thing, gave the position back, but lost the position to James Harworth in the process. And Fernandez is on the move. Next on the hit list is going to be T. Jonas. And basically, once he catches T. Jonas, he is going to be catching this pack. T. Jonas is about 6 seconds ahead of Ben Fernandez. Meanwhile, Alejandro Capar is still out in front to the tune of 5.6 seconds. And honestly, Eric, it wouldn't surprise me if Alejandro stays out and tries to run block and tries to basically pull Lewis Hamilton and back up this pack to Ben Fernandez. We spoke about it briefly in qualifying last week at Austria. Alejandro stopped at the start-finish line, let Ben Fernandez go by. Unfortunately, Fernandez did lose out on that second-place finish because of timing and scoring penalties, in-game penalties, but you could see then and there that there was definitely some strong team orders amongst Ben Fernandez and Alejandro Capar, and Alejandro will do whatever it takes at this point to try and let Ben extend that championship points lead. Meanwhile, Epic trying to run his race. He's out in second spot. He's half a second over Kevin Harrison and T. Jonas. These guys really haven't made a move amongst one another. They may be trying to run with one another just to get to those top 3 podium spots and get in front of Alejandro Capar. And unfortunately, Luis Wassman is going to retire in the pits. And we do have a yellow flag, sector 1. That's the other McLaren, is it? Or is it the other Renault? Who's gone around? It's Brandon Villegas, and Brandon Villegas looks like he's had an off. And Luis Wassman has retired from the session and unfortunately having a rough day for him. He'll switch over to the International Racing Series and see if he can make a little bit of headway there. We continue to talk about the possibility of who's going to win this race. Now, for what it's worth, Ben Fernandez has cut that time in half to T. Jonas, and he just ran the fastest lap of this race, 1:28 flat, purple in all 3 sectors, 3.5 seconds back from T. Jonas. And there you see, just coming into the frame, here comes Ben Fernandez as these 3 come at the end of the straightaway. So Fernandez is coming. And Abitched, that is Patrick Sorius, is going to retire from this session as well. Actually, I think he just left the session, which means his car will go AI. 2.6 seconds now separates Ben Fernandez from T. Jonas. The question's going to be, oh, and Brandon Villegas is now retired from the session. So guys dropping like flies towards the end of this race. If you've come this far, you might as well finish it out. 5 laps isn't going to hurt you, buddy. And really, you don't know what's going to happen in these races. Things starting to really heat up here in the desert. It is now under 2 seconds. Ben Fernandez trying to close the gap is now down to 1.6. He is coming with a head of steam. Meanwhile, Logan Aron is trying to close down that gap. And a 3-second time penalty handed out to Anton. Inconsequential. Currently running in 12th. Now Logan's been able to gap Kevin Harrison just a little bit. And he can see. He can see Alejandro Capar. And James Hallworth just ran the fastest lap of this race. Good for James. Switching over to a fresh set of softs. He's currently running in 13th spot. And now Ben Fernandez is there. He's made this a 4-car battle. And he has got the fastest car on track right now. Now, Logan Arond, Kevin Harrison, and T. Jonas have been running in a train for a number of laps now. Nobody really made a move on one another. I think they might understand what is at stake because Team Red Bull has been really the heavy hitters in the Constructors' Championship, and obviously Ben Fernandez with that 26-point lead over Logan for the championship. Brandon Villegas has finally left the session. We started with 19 drivers. We've got 15 remaining. T. Jonas trying to take the defensive line. He's going to try and make Ben go to the outside. Ben almost outbreaks himself again. He's side by side with Jonas. Jonas gets the power down. And now the crossover move. He's going to try and get to the inside. He's just at the right rear. T. Jonas late on the brakes, locks up the right front. Jonas trying to get that power down, but he's not going to be able to make it work. Ben Fernandez up into the 4th spot. Next on the hit list is Kevin Harrison. And there's nothing T. Jonas can do at this point on those hard tires. We have to hope for a mistake out of Ben Fernandez. But he has been mistake-free for the majority of this race. I questioned his tire strategy. And I was definitely wrong. That's why I'm not a racer. Those who can't do it, talk about it. And that is what my job is. A little bit of a lockup on the right front, but he is going to have the DRS advantage as he heads down this long straightaway. Chris Van Ravenhorst picks up a 3-second time penalty. Not close enough to make a move, but he's going to easily be able to make a move at the end of the front straightaway. Heading into turn 1. Kevin Harrison's also got the DRS advantage. Harrison, though, does not play a very aggressive game. Oh, and to the inside, and look at this late brakes again. He's got those soft tires. Harrison makes contact with them side by side. But look at the power out of the Red Bull, getting that traction down. And he's up into 3rd. And next victim is going to be championship contender Logan Arond. And Logan is going to be shaking his head once again. What do I got to do to beat this guy? And if Ben gets in front of Logan, you can guarantee that Alejandro will probably slow down and let Ben go by. And here comes Ben Fernandez. You can hear the tires screaming a little bit as he's hard and deep onto the brakes. And unfortunately, Epic the Animal, Logan Arond is a sit duck now. And down the front straightaway, Logan's going to try and break up that slipstream a little bit, but I don't think there's going to be much he can do. He's going to stay to the inside, try and take that defensive line away. He's going to make Ben go to the outside. Runs him deep, last of the late breakers, but gets the power down, and that's softs versus hards. Ben Fernandez out in front, but I don't think Epic is quite done with him. Epic trying to look to the inside, looks to the outside. He's all over the gearbox, trying to get that power down. But fresh softs versus old hards is just not a matchup that he's going to be able to win. And now 2.5 seconds. The gap between Alejandro and Ben Fernandez. And Sandre Sauerhog picks up a 3-second time penalty. Now 2.1 separates Ben Fernandez from his teammate Alejandro Gapar. Does Alejandro slow down, try to give that position to Ben without losing second? Lap and a half remains. Actually, we're going to be on the last lap now. 1.5 seconds separating Ben and his teammate. Are we going to see what we saw last week where Alejandro basically slows down at the start-finish line to let Ben go by, or is Ben going to let him have a win? Or is this going to be a Ricky Bobby and Cal Naughton Jr. type of deal? You know, because if Alejandro wins, then, you know, how's Ben going to win? And now it is under a second. DRS advantage to Ben Fernandez. Down the backstretch one final time. What is going to become of Alejandro and Ben Fernandez? Big lockup in the right front. And Alejandro Gapar is going to walk away with the win. Epic is third, Kevin Harrison fourth, T. Jonas fifth, and those guys, I think all three of them are going to be shaking their head about what can we do about Ben Fernandez. Thomas Zentner is also going to be shaking his head at sixth place finish. Bjorn Langfell seventh. Catboy, Kieran Spears manages to work his way to eighth. Chris Van Ravenhorst is ninth. Sandre Sauerhog. Did Sandre just pick up a championship point? Good on Sandre to finish 10th. James Hallworth coming across in 11th. Peter Sundberg 12th. Anton, who had a strong race at one point, falls all the way back to 13th. Sassy Pickle, another driver who had a strong race at one point, all the way down to 15th. And then Gravity 151. This is Adam Corrigan. I thought at one point actually left the session, but maybe I was wrong. Trying to finish up this lap as he comes down the straightaway, the backstretch, one last time. So Ben Fernandez will once again extend that points lead over Logan Arond by just a little bit. Ben Fernandez will now have a 32-point lead. And driver of the day is Epic the Animal, so good on Logan Arond picking up the podium after starting 14th position. But there's Alejandro Gapar. That's Alejandro's first win of the season. And actually, it's his third podium in the row. So Team Red Bull crushing it this year. Ben Fernandez has now got 5 podiums out of 6 races. So here are the unofficial results for today's 29-lap Grand Prix. Alejandro Gapar with his first win of the season. Ben Fernandez, followed by Logan Arond, Kevin Harrison, T. Jonas, Thomas Sentner, Bjorn Langfell, Kieran Spears, Chris Van Ravenhorst, Sandre Sauerhog, good on him to score a point, James Hallworth, Peter Sundberg, Anton Rojo, Sassy Pickle, and then Gravity 151, Adam Corrigan. 16th through 19th is all DNFs. That's Brandon Villegas, Luis Wassman, Patrick Sorios, and Thomas Mumford. So another great race from IRL. So this has been IRL Season 8. This is the F3 tier. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel and get caught up on all of the other racing action we've got from F1, F3, and F5, plus the Real Performance League. You can also check us out on Twitter at F1_IRL. And be sure to tune in again next week when we will race round 7. I'm KAMIKAZE-FOX. This has been IRL. Stay smooth, stay fast. We'll see you guys at the next round.